Sometimes I feel like I'm not enough. Hey guys, it's Ray Alvarez, Shoot with Ray, and in this video I just want to relate with you, and I'm sure there's going to be probably a lot of people who can relate with this video. Everybody knows what the imposter syndrome is, and if you don't know, let's look it up together. So I'm going to open up ChatGPT, which is my favorite tool, and we're going to look up what imposter syndrome is. Alright guys, so the definition of imposter syndrome from ChatGPT is: imposter syndrome for photographers is a nagging feeling that you're not good enough, even when your work proves otherwise. It's when you doubt your skills, feel like a fraud, and worry that clients or peers will find out that you're not a real professional. It can show up in different ways: comparing yourself to others, downplaying your successes, avoiding opportunities, or over-editing or over-delivering. Drop a comment below with a check mark if you can agree to all of the above. That's me. And I tell this to people during my workshops and my classes whenever I'm speaking publicly. I'm an introvert. I tell that to everybody. And if you didn't know it, now you know. I feel like sometimes I can't talk, I can't speak. Even with these videos, sometimes I struggle. So, it doesn't help when I'm looking back at my analytics and I see 300 people liked it and then one person or two people disliked it. You can never make anybody happy, and that's what you kind of have to remember in the back of your mind. And I don't let it bring me down, but it does get upsetting sometimes, only because you try to do things like this for people for free so people can enjoy, people can learn, and you can feed off of it, right? And you can't make people happy, and people like that make you feel like crap because you feel like I'm not good enough, I'm not good, I said something stupid, I said something silly, or I said something wrong, I didn't use the right terminology. But for me, I go ahead and I take that and I just run with it, man. I just grow from it. And if you take a look at this video today compared to the video when I first started, I was bad. It was bad, and I think it's still bad. But as long as you guys understand me, as long as I can get my message out to you guys, it makes me happy. Do I go through imposter syndrome a lot? No, not really. I'm actually pretty positive at all times. There's just a few times where I can feel like I'm going through that. So in your case, if you feel that way, I'm here to tell you it's all right, man. It's all good. Don't compare yourself to others. I know that's really hard. It's better said than done. Don't do it. It's not good. Sometimes you need to block yourself out and don't look at other people's work, because one minute you're looking at someone and you're comparing yourself to that person, you love their stuff, and you're like, oh, I want to shoot like that, oh, I want to do something like this. And then you're looking at the next person and they're totally different people, totally different pieces of artwork and styles. And then you're like, oh, I want to be like this one. So then you're in the between, and you find yourself fighting yourself, because when it doesn't look like this and it doesn't look like this, you're like, oh man, like, what am I doing? And then that's when you're comparing yourself. Or you can be browsing on the internet, Instagram, Facebook, any of the online networks, and you're looking at work and you're like, wow, why does my stuff not look like that? And if you're a beginner, you don't have the style, and that's completely fine. You're gonna find your style. I guarantee it. Take it from me. You're gonna find your style. You're gonna find what you like to shoot, how you like to shoot it, and that is completely fine. It doesn't have to be accepted by anybody. Keep that in mind. Always keep that in mind. You are your own person. You are your own artist. People will love your work for you and how you create it. And you're gonna find clientele who will enjoy and love that work and hire you for that, if you decide to make this a business. If you're just a hobbyist, you should care even less. So comparing yourself to others, that's a big no-no. Downplaying your successes. Now, I gotta admit, I've been there, I've done that. There's times I feel like I haven't been successful at all. And I'm not here to kind of shame anybody or brag about my successes. If you know me personally, you know I'm humble. I don't like to overshare. I don't like to even post what car I drive, because I don't even drive a fancy car. So I hate downplaying my successes, but sometimes you just have to look back. Go on your phone, open up the Photos app, and just scroll. Scroll back 2 years, scroll back 3 years, and you'll see. You're like, wow, I've really changed. I've really done stuff. I've really created this. You forget about the places you've been, the people you got to work with, the accomplishments you've made online, whether it be a competition, whether it be a challenge, the fact that you purchased this lens or that lens or this light or this tool. and you got to play with it and you got to use it and create with it. These are all things that you can think about. Just because they're small, it doesn't mean nothing. Small wins are better than big wins, in my opinion. So don't downplay your successes. Take them all and just feel them. Just feel like they're achievements, because they are. They're 100% achievements. Avoiding opportunities. I've always done that. There's times that I just didn't take a job or was worried or scared to take a job because I felt, I wasn't ready for it or I've never done it. Look, as a beginner, you're going to find yourself in positions where a job can come across and they offer you some money for some sort of photography style that you haven't done or aren't comfortable doing. It is completely up to you to figure out whether or not you want to do the job. But if you do some research, figure out the job, get the details, and make sure that you're prepared for it. Do your homework. Without saying too much, I had a friend recently reach out, a photographer friend of mine. Quite honestly, he wasn't prepared for the project. His client wasn't super happy with some of the stuff that he created. And one of the questions I asked him, I said, who's going to edit? Who's going to hire the makeup artist? Who's going to hire the hairstylist? Who ended up hiring the hairstylist? Who ended up hiring the makeup artist? He didn't have any answers for me. He said, I don't know. Or, I said, what about your client? Where was he when, you were taking these pictures? If you know me, right, and you see my videos, you know that I use an iPad and I'm showing my client. I stop and take breaks during my photo shoot and I stop and show my clients what we're capturing. What have we created? So that way we're on the same page. So there's no false expectations. So I asked my friend, where was your client during your shoot? Oh, he was just walking around. And I told him, I said, no, that's not good. Your client needs to be your creative director because the client paid you for a vision. You're making that vision come to life. So I told my friend that, and of course, I think that whatever happens after that, maybe they'll do a reshoot or something, he'll make it right. But with that, just make sure that you're prepared for the project. Do your research, do your homework. You should be good. Feeling like a fraud. And I think that stems from not knowing how to price or value yourself. And I really don't like talking about pricing a lot. I feel that's a very touchy subject. Pricing can vary from state to state, country to country, city, town. Sometimes you may be a small town, sometimes you may be in a large city. And that right there alone can vary your pricing. So for me to tell you how you can price yourself and you live in Ohio, small town in Ohio, it doesn't make sense. So I feel like pricing is just very touchy. I'll give my opinion here and there for some of my mentees or some of my private classes that I host. But other than that, I don't really like to talk about pricing. If you feel like a fraud, I don't know, that sounds so weird. It sounds terrible. Maybe Google local photographers to your area. Google that or use ChatGPT and see what they're saying about pricing for your kind of work, for your kind of photography in your area. And kind of gauge yourself there. If you feel like you're not quite ready to charge that amount, go a little lower, gauge it and see what you can do, or go a little higher. It's really up to you. I can't tell you what to charge, and nor can someone from California or someone from New York tell you what to charge. You're your own person, you're your own business. We can only give you advice. Charge your worth, whether it be $100, whether it be $3,000. Charge what you feel you're worth. Charge what you think is your value. Worrying that clients or peers will find out that you're not a real professional. I had a very good co-worker of mine, very good friend of mine back in New York. His name is Luke. And Luke always told me, Ray, if you're charging money for it, you're a professional. If you're charging for it, you're sending out invoices, you're sending out contracts, and you're working for it, you're a professional, period. Because there's different levels of professionalism. So keep that in mind. I'm going to rewind here a little bit. If you're not sending invoices and contracts and you're a photographer doing this for business, start using invoices and contracts. I can't stress that enough. For real, do that. If you're not using a contract, shame on you. You have to. I don't care if it's not a template. It could be the most basic thing. It could be like my name, client's name, date, how much hours, what am I delivering, what am I expecting, because if you don't list this down, you're in trouble on the long run, because then when your client's unhappy and they're like, well, you know what, you're supposed to give me 50 pictures, or you're supposed to work 3 hours, although you said 1 hour in verbally. And you're going to be pissed, because then when you're going to say, well, my contract, what contract? So use a contract, use invoices, be a little bit more organized. You shouldn't feel like you're not good enough. Take it from me, a shy, introverted photographer who doesn't appear to be, but I am. I'm just here to share that with you because I feel like behind this wall or smoke and mirrors of, you know, fun photo shoots, having fun and everything, nobody really shares like the stuff you go through and how you really feel sometimes. So not everything is super jolly on this end, you know, like, of course, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman. Of course I have my ups and of course I have my downs. So there's weeks, you know, like I'm good, I'm making something, I'm putting food on the table. And there's weeks where, hey man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I gotta figure this out. Just keep that in mind. And if you ever feel like you need to talk to somebody about things, drop a comment. If you wanna keep it private, go on my Instagram, Shoot with Ray, send me a message and we'll talk. If you guys ever need to learn a little bit more about pricing, going through things, learning lighting, learning photography, you guys know that I have classes that you guys can hire me for, one-on-one sessions. I also have a mentorship. I have a local version where we can meet up and it's like a boot camp. And then there's also a virtual membership that you can join right here on YouTube. More information down in the description. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope my advice really does help. And I appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next one.